I have this old John Deere 110. I didn't plan on buying it. It was at a local auction, and I got it for a good price. It appears to be mostly complete and original. It's been sitting in the garage since I got it. That was probably around 2005 or 2010. And I don't know the history before that. I did some research after I got it. I think it's the last year they made the round fender tractors, but I forget what year that was. I've never worked on a John Deere like this. I plan on getting it running, maybe take it to a few farm shows, and then I'll decide if I want to keep it. This is a fiberglass hood. It's closed really tight. Don't want to break it. I'll have to work on that. It looks like the hood's back too far, or the dash is forward too far. The transmission has 4 forward speeds and 1 reverse. First gear might be a creeper gear. Since it has this lockout, you have to move out of the way. That short lever on the side is a variable speed belt drive. So this is a variable speed belt drive in front of a transmission. I got the hood open. That all looks like it should, except for all the mouse poop. This tractor's been used but not modified. All the stuff behind the dash looks original. The mower deck looks complete except for the belt guard. This belt drive system looks complete. That hood is way back. I'm not going to try to close it again. I think somebody drove into a tree or something and pushed the grill back some. I found out it only takes a few hours for this tire to go flat. It's a tubeless tire, and the biggest leak is where it was previously plugged. So I'll probably put a tube in it. This lever feels like it's not connected to anything. Maybe the engine has to be running for it to work. I'm going to take off the mower deck. It'll make the tractor easier to work on, and maybe I'll be able to see the variable speed linkage from the bottom side. There's a lever here to release the belt tension. After that, I see a few spring clips and clevis pins to remove. Here's a spring pin in the front. I can't get that long pin out yet though. I'll disconnect the same stuff on this side. There's a nut and bolt over here instead of a pin. I need some wrenches. Okay, that should be everything except the front. Now it looks like the easiest thing to do is jack up the front and slide it under the tire. And here's what the deck looks like. While I have the jack out, I'm going to take this tire off. There's a little hubcap on there. That's pretty beefy. And then there's a castle nut held on with a cotter pin. The next thing I'm going to worry about is this fiberglass hood. It has this metal heat deflector. That seems like it should stay up. And when I let the hood lean forward, it puts pressure on this fiberglass corner. I don't like that. On the other side it looks like a stop, but it's not in the right place to keep the hood from going too far forward. I'm going to disconnect the headlights and try to pull these pins here. The pins are actually bolts. It looks like I have to flex the hood out to get the bolt out of the hole. There's the problem. Each of these pins are actually bolts, and the nut's supposed to be tight to hold these metal inserts in place on the hood. That's good. Nothing's broken. I think I can put it back together so it works right. There's actually some liquid in the bottom. I'm going to pull the tank so I can clean it. This fuel line is pretty stiff. I'll be replacing all of that. It looks like the grill is made so you can pull these tabs and lean it forward. And then it lifts off. Those bottom tabs are bent up. They weren't in the holes right, but it looks like everything's there and it can be straightened up. Yep, we can make that work. Now I can get to these bolts. That'll let me move the hood forward so it'll close like it should. There's that elbow I see for sale on eBay all the time. These uprights look like they'd come off with 2 bolts on each side. I'm gonna take off this air cleaner stuff next. This old fuel line is in the way. Looks like I'll have to cut that off. This is the choke cable. And then I'm taking the carburetor off. Remember, this linkage was in the inside hole on the carburetor and the lower hole on the governor arm. I'm going to pull the spark plug wire. That down in there is a mouse nest. I usually don't have that problem on a Kohler like this, because normally you have one of these on there. This engine don't have one, and I probably don't have a green one laying around here. So I need to take the flywheel cover off to clean the mouse nest. Starting from this side, I need to take this belt guard off. It shares this bolt with the starter generator bracket, so I want to take the tension off of that. I'm going to rotate the starter generator forward to loosen the belt. That means I need to loosen the bottom bolt on the starter generator. The nut for that long bottom bolt is on this side, and it's covered by that guard there. That has these bolts you're supposed to tighten with your fingers, so that part comes off right after I get this big pulley system out of the way. I'll try some pliers first. A small adjustable wrench works good. It looks like there should be a bolt in this hole here. I'll probably put one in there when I put it back together. These wires probably go to that switch there, and they're tied together to bypass the switch. This feels like it's still attached. If I look back there, I can see a bolt coming through, but there's 2 bolts out here. Yep, I can see both of them coming through, so those have to come out. There's a variable speed pulley back there. It's getting a little rusty. Now I can get to this nut. The dipstick is up against the starter generator. Need to move that. And I'll check the oil while I'm at it. That looks normal. This bolt was already loose. That bolt's smaller than the rest of them. That screen is almost totally clogged with grass dust, so this engine wasn't getting much air in there for cooling. Now I need to get to the bolts back here. I wonder if I can get a ratchet in there. Hey, look at all that access if I just come in from the bottom. This cover's not coming off until I get this pulley off. These are Phillips head screws. Usually a screwdriver don't cut it for these, but it don't hurt to make sure. I always use an impact driver for these. There's a lock washer and a flat washer on these. The flat washer keeps the lock washer from tearing up the screen. That'll keep the air from going through there. Alright, I got all that junk cleaned out of there. I'm gonna see what it feels like when I turn it. I don't feel any tight spots. There's a little bit of compression. The plug looks normal. I'm going to put some oil in there and squirt it back towards where the piston is. That'll get a little oil in the cylinder bore. If the compression's leaking around the piston, that should make it better. If the compression's leaking around the valves, the oil shouldn't make any change. There's a big change in the compression. That means the valves are closing nicely. Well, that's as far as I'm going this time, and here's what it looks like. I got all the mouse nest and grass stuff cleaned up. I don't see any big problems so far. Maybe I can make this into a nice original condition tractor. Alright, that's it.